Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Cecilia Schoenbaum, and on behalf of OTC Markets, as well as our co-host, Murdoch Capital Partners and TAA Advisory, we're very pleased you've joined us for our next live presentation from Element 29 Resources. Before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the bottom left of the slide. Once the Q&A session is ended, don't log out. You will automatically be transferred into the Element 29 Resources booth, where you can continue to ask questions via chat and access additional shareholder materials. On a final note, all today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Brian Booth, President and CEO of Element 29 Resources, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol EMTRF and on the TSXV under the symbol ECU. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Cecilia, and thank you for this opportunity to share the good projects that we have at E29 with our investor group. Start off, we have very fantastic copper projects located in Peru. They're both advanced projects. They're new to the market. We recently went public in December of 2020 successfully and raised a significant amount of money to advance these two significant projects in Peru that both have multiple intersections of high-grade copper on them. We've assembled a significant team of experienced porphyry copper people and in-country expertise to expedite and deliver on the milestones that we plan for the year. After our IPO, we have a very tight share structure that I'll run through with everyone, and then I'll finalize everything at the end with the catalysts and milestones that we hope to achieve by the end of the year. Our team here and in Peru are shown on this slide. There's myself. I've been working in Peru for 12 years and worked on porphyries in the country during that time period. Our board are made up of our founding company, which is Globetrotter Resources, which is Richard Osman and Patrick Elliott, and then rounded out with Dr. Michael Doggett and Peter Espig, that add value to the company with their knowledge of working in Peru and in the copper space. Our management team in Peru is made up of our CFO, Dwayne Lowe, who is an experienced person. He used to work as controller for First Quantum in Peru, so knows that country very well. Paul Johnston used to be the chief geoscientist for Teck in South America, as well as Globetrotters, and brings over 30 years of experience in porphyry copper exploration and knowledge. So Dr. Johnston is a great addition to our team and spearheading our exploration for the company. In-country manager, Ricardo Labo, was the former Deputy Minister of Mines, so a very experienced person in understanding the logistics in the country and so on, and has been working well with Paul to establish our team. Our two projects our share structure is made up of about 70% of shareholders. From the IPO, we have a resource capital fund with 5%, our founding company with 17%, and management and the board with 6%. And we have a little over $5 million left in the company with an 80 million share float, going forward. And that's plenty of money to continue to work our projects and finalize everything. So our projects, these are two photos of our projects and what they look like, the lay of the land, very good. Locations close to the coast. We'll start with Florida Cobrae, which is located in the southern copper belt of Peru. You can see the area of our deposit that is located right in the center of the photo. We own this project 100% with the option to earn 100% on one small piece of it. There's excellent infrastructure to this location. It's in one of the larger copper belts located in the country. And it has a historic resource of over 50 million tons at 0.67 drilled by Phelps Dodge in the 1990s that we will be drilling in and around when we get started on the drilling here. And you can see that some of the historic results were 272 meters of 0.92 copper, of which the top part of this deposit is enrichment zone. And enrichment is amenable to leaching, so that's going to be our primary target. But there's also the porphyry target below that, which returned in sulfide 156 meters of 0.58% copper. So we're starting off with a plus 60 holes of historic work done. We know where all the holes are, and they were easily located by our team. So we're going to be doing a new resource on that in the near future. So this is where it's located. You can see the second largest city in Peru is Arequipa, and our project is located about an hour and 15 minutes drive on paved roads and a small dirt road to get to the access. So very close to major infrastructure, lots of power line opportunities. It's sandwiched in between two existing mines, which is Cerro Verde, one of the largest copper mines in the world, and the Chapi mine, which is located just 8 kilometers to the southeast from our deposit. So this little blow up shows the geophysics on the project and the two areas that we'll be exploring. The squared off black area in the lower corner is where the historic resource is located. That's where we will be doing our initial drilling this year to complete a new 43101 resource for that historic resource. So we'll modernize that. We plan to drill 10 holes. That'll be at least 200 to 300 meters, and we'll be drilling in and around the known mineralization to modernize that, and we will get fresh core from that, which will allow us to start doing advanced studies on the project by leach testing and so on, and moving into 2022 into a preliminary economic assessment for that deposit. So we're excited about the opportunity of testing this leach material, which is very high grade and leachable and mostly chalcocite. The secondary target here is the Atravesado target. It's a very large porphyry target system. We have the same style of leach capping evidence on surface that we have where the deposit at Candelaria occurs. So we're excited to be able to drill that target, which is very large, 1.5 by 1.6 kilometers in size, has high-grade copper mineralization at surface, and from the geophysics shows that it has a very good root system to it. So that's never been drilled before, so that will be our secondary target for drilling in 2022. So here's a cross-section across the Candelaria deposit, the historic deposit. So you can see that it's all above, the enrichment zone is all located 200 meters from surface, very close, very amenable to an open pit operation. The roots to this porphyry have only been tested by very few holes, as you can see. So the primary sulfide is wide open in all directions. So we'll be exploring that as well as we go forward. And there's lots of upside for that mineralization. This next slide shows the opening. There was some previous mining on the surface only, and so it just shows you the previous historic work that was done, and that was sold to the existing plants in the area for years. So, but the historic resource was never reached, so that's still the area that we'll be testing going forward. So now we'll talk about our Alita project, and again, we benefit from having two world-class opportunities here. This is a much larger porphyry system. It was originally discovered by Globetrotter Resources. You can see it in the rusted area. It's 2 by 2 kilometers in size, so a very big system. We own this 100%. It came over for shares in the company, and it's a large system, as I said, and it has 5 porphyry centers inside the system, of which only one has been drilled with 18 holes. This is modern drilling. We have all the core of the 18 holes drilled in 2015. and we have a number of already 500-meter intersections of around 0.42 copper with very good credits in molybdenum and silver, which make the copper equivalent closer to 0.58. And these are wide open, and I'll show you that they're wide open at depth. There's 4 other targets that still haven't been tested. Again, just like Florida Cobrae, great infrastructure. It's located 4 hours drive north of Lima on paved road, and now the road is all paved to the site. So another hour and 15 minutes to get to the deposit. Again, very close to ports, power, and infrastructure, low elevation, and again, very good grade and a very large system. So very attractive to the future. So here's we've draped on top of the Landsat image the size of the system in yellow and the 5 individual targets that we have on the project. The central target 1 is the one that we'll be drilling first. We have the drill there now. It's on the site for the first hole, so we will be beginning that very shortly. The other 3 targets are being prepared. Target 2, 3, and 4. They have leach cap opportunities, just like we have at Florida Cobrae for higher grade enrichment material. And so those will be explored after we've completed the initial drilling program, which is underway at the target 1 at Alita. So this is a diagram that shows you how the porphyry target 1 sits. So this is only the target 1 that we're looking at in the foreground. The green area is the area of mineralized material. With the porphyry coming up in, it's mineralized all the rocks around that. And so that's where we'll be testing. Here's the plan close up, which shows all the historic drilling and some of the intersections. And then and in green are the new holes that we'll be drilling in this program, and where hole A will be the one that we drill first, and then we will be bringing in a second drill in the near term. We'll be able to double up our drilling by bringing in that second drill. This new discovery, was outlined large. You can see the mineralization in this photograph that's sitting at surface. Spectacular mineralization all over that 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer area. And again, this is a new project, and it's something that is new to the market, and there's a lot of growth potential here and a lot of multiple targets to grow the resource that we plan to find here. The catalyst this year for the company and a news flow is that we received our Alita permit in June, and we will be, we've been mobilizing to the Alita project. As I mentioned, the drill is on site now, and we're well positioned to get our resource drilling there done and hopefully come up with a maiden resource for that by year end 2021. Once the drilling is done at Alita, we'll be moving over to Florida Cobrae and with the drilling, and then drill a 10-hole program there, very shallow, so that will take very little time to complete, and then that will be followed by a resource in 2022. So we, at this point, we anticipate that there'll be drill results this fall, and again, culminating with that initial resource at Alita, and then a resource in 2022 for Florida Cobrae. So why invest in E29? We're well positioned. We have the right money to go forward with the project, and we'll be, we've got the team in place and everything and infrastructure in place to complete all of this work. And the stock price is currently at around the IPO price, so it's a great opportunity to, you look at peer groups. Once we get these deliverables within the company, which, take us to a more advanced stage, we should see those market cap increases as we get remeasured to those new resources and opportunities. So with that, I'll thank everyone for listening, and then I'll take some questions. Okay, first question here is, what do you see as your target challenges in the 2021 work plan? What we've been doing in our programs and is that we've been having to adapt, of course, like a lot of other companies, to COVID-19. We put in great protocols there. So, of course, safety of our people and our crew and the community near us is paramount to our company. So we've managed that very well. Through the mobilization of all of the equipment and everything at Alita, we've managed not to have any COVID outbreaks whatsoever. So compliment my team for doing a great job there. Our current capital position is well around $5 million, which is plenty of money to complete the drill programs. Next question. As you start, have you seen or are you expecting any changes in the new president of Peru? We're hearing good things about some of the things that are being said. We don't see any impact to our project by any of the changes in the politics of the country at this time. So the next question, it sounds like you have a good relationship with the local stakeholders at both projects. Can you tell us more about how you got there? Well, we have one community at Alita called the ACO community. We've had an agreement with them for 5 years. We renewed that for a further 5, and they're doing very well and benefiting greatly from our efforts there, working with them. We've hired a number of them to continue on the project, and at Florida Cobrae, where the historic resource is located, the surface rights there are owned by a company. So we made an agreement with that company to drill. So there's no community related to that drilling, but the secondary target, Atravesado, does have a community, and we're in negotiations with them and discussions on moving that forward. But we did have an agreement with them last year, and so we're just talking about modernizing it for the drilling effort. So the next question is, as you start drilling at Alita, what excites your geologist most about that project? Well, what excites us about Alita is the sheer size of the system and the deep root. We know that it's wide open from the drilling below 400 meters. In a number of the holes, they ended in high-grade mineralization. There are 4 other really significant geological targets there that show that there's possibly higher-grade material. Certainly, the molybdenum values on the project average so far are 2 to 3 times higher than average porphyries for a byproduct at metal, as well as the silver is around 3.5 grams average, which puts it in a very good byproduct credit to add to the 0.4 sort of copper range that we have average. So again, it makes the value of the ore there very good, having high-grade moly, silver, and gold and copper. Sorry. The next question: what are your expectations for the metallurgical test work at Alita? Well, the metallurgical test work is underway from old core, and we want to see how much of that we can recover. So we're working on different methods to see how that works. That's already being undertaken. So we want to also make sure that, and we know this from our analysis, that there are no deleterious elements of any significance on the project at this time. We want to make sure that's still the case, and so that we have clean. That any products that come from the mineralization will provide clean concentrates for sale. And the next question is, when do you expect to get your permits for Florida Cobrae, and how long thereafter can you start drilling? We expect to get Florida Cobrae's permit before we finish the drilling at Alita, which means it's really seamless to move the teams over to the other project and get started. So we would probably move that over. It will take probably 3 to 4 weeks to move it over and get set up. But because it's so close to town, we're not setting up a camp there or anything. We'll be just staying at hotels close by. So the logistics are a little bit simpler than Alita, so we should have very little time required to get get set up there properly. And drilling, will be, with a couple of rigs would take, 10 holes, won't take long to complete. Next question, you mentioned both your projects are well located in Peru. Can you tell us more detail about how this impacts the development of Flor de Cobrae and Alida? Well, porphyry copper projects are very, capital intensive projects, generally when it's the big porphyries like Alida. So being close to the coast and infrastructure reduces the capital costs tremendously, plus and being at low elevation, is simpler to build those mines when you're below around 2,000 meters versus 4,000 meters. So that also reduces the cost, and of course, transportation to the coast and to the ports is simpler, etc. In the case of Flor de Cobrae, we're looking at a project that can be a leach project. So that's a project that would be very modest capital costs for the leach portion, and the sulfide portion we would be evaluating over time, and we'll figure that out when we get there. But certainly a leach project would be in the hundreds of millions and not billions to build. Next question, how did E29 acquire these projects and why were they abandoned in the past? Well, in the case of Flor de Cobrae, Candelaria, we had a great relationship with the underlying owners, and so Globetrotters was able to acquire those projects from the underlying owners. The reason that they weren't worked was that in the 1990s, projects needed to be over 1% copper because the copper price was $1 a pound. In today's world, 0.67, which is what the deposit historically graded, is very valuable when you're plus $4 copper. So again, the economics have changed, and that's why it wasn't looked at in the past, but is very prospective now. Next question, remind us again, what are the near-term catalysts that we should be watching for E29 for the remainder of 2021 and into 2022? Well, the main catalysts for us this year are drill results at Alida and followed by that at Flor de Cobrae that will be happening over the next 6 months. At the end of this year, we hope to have the drilling complete adequately at Alida to do a maiden resource. So there'll be a 43-101 resource completed at Alida first, and then that would be followed by a modernized 43-101 estimate for the Flor de Cobrae historic resource as well into 2022. Okay, I think that's all we have for now. And I'd like to thank everyone for participating, and please reach out to the company if you have any other questions or explanations that you'd like to have answered by management. Thank you very much.